President of the Bismarck School Board. It's 5:15 on Monday, July 14th. I call this meeting to order. Welcome and thank you to everybody for joining us both tonight here at the City Building's Tom Baker Room or online. You can find our agenda under the School Board tab at bismarckschools.org. Dr. Scher, could you please call the roll, please?
Mr. Eastgate?
Here.
Mr. Hager?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Ms. Presky?
Here.
Ms. Presky, thanks for calling in to be with us tonight. We're out on a work trip. We should certainly appreciate it. Dr. Scher, please note that all board members are present and accounted for. Dr. Fosnat, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Fosnat. Item 1C is the BPS mission, vision, and values. The BPS mission is to empower every learner to thrive. The BPS vision states, together, our strong relationships build inclusive, collaborative, and innovative environments that create agency and inspire a passion for learning, excellence, and discovery. The BPS values are inclusion, excellence, innovation, and leadership. You can also find a link in the agenda to the BPS strategic plan. Item 2 is to adopt the agenda. What are the wishes of the board? Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Dr. Scher.
Hager?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Presky?
Yes.
Eastgate?
Yes. Motion passes. Item 3 on the agenda is the reorganization of the 25-26 school board. We are at the end of a year and moving into a new one. So item 3A is the election of 25-26 officers for the Bismarck Public School Board. What are the wishes of the board or any discussion? Mr. Lee.
Mr. President, I would move to nominate Josh Hager for the position of President of the Bismarck School Board for the 2025-2026 term. And I would point out that he is dressed presidentially, almost identical to you. So.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lee. We have a motion.
I would second, and I would just like to thank you, President Eastgate, for your service. You served for 2 years, kind of onboarding our Dr. Fosnat, and so that would maintain some continuity between the 2 years. So just appreciate that extra year of service from you at this time, and again, second the nomination of Josh.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. It was a heavy lift bringing Dr. Fosnat along. It's a joke. Great job, Dr. Fosnat. Mr. Hager, do you accept the nomination? I guess maybe I should start with that.
I do, thanks.
Fantastic. Mr. Hager's been vice president for the last 2 years. He'll do a phenomenal job leading our board, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to serve in this seat with you, board members, so thanks a lot for having me. It's been, like I said, just an honor to serve both the board and the community, so I appreciate you guys. With that, Dr. Scher, the roll, please.
Lee?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Presky?
Yes.
Hager?
Yes.
Eastgate?
Yes, motion passes. And we'll take just a moment here to put President Hager into this seat, and then we'll be looking at bringing on the vice president.
I'm not sure what's going on with the phone.
By the Rocky Dead.
I don't know what's going on.
He kind of left a mess.
I see that. My water really perspired.
It was Dan Sweat.
Yeah.
It's tough being the president.
Yeah.
Josh Hager.
Hello?
Gotcha.
We're back now. First, before I open it up for the vice president position, I just want to kind of jump on the coattails of Ms. Peterson and thank you, Mr. Eastgate, for the last 2 years. It's if you watch online and you watch these school board meetings and this is the only interaction you see us have, I just want you to know that both Mr. Eastgate and Mr. Lee, prior to him, they spent an awful lot of time working with the superintendent that tends to go unnoticed. So just want to thank you for the last 2 years and all the hard work and time and effort that you put in. It doesn't go unnoticed by us board members, that's for sure. So thank you, Mr. Eastgate.
Thank you.
With that, I would open up for nominations for vice president. Mr. Eastgate.
Yeah, President Hager, she's not here to necessarily defend herself, but I would nominate Ms. Danelle Presky to be the vice president of the Bismarck School Board.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Presky, would you accept the nomination?
Yes, I'm honored. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Scher, we have a motion and a second.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Presky,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. Congratulations, Ms. Presky. With that, that brings us down to item 4, public comment. The board recognizes the central role parents play in the education of their children and supports active parent involvement in the education process. The board's practice of public comment reflects and aligns with policy BCBA and the spirit of its intent. For classroom issues, it's best to follow the chain of command: teacher, principal, assistant, superintendent. For district issues, please reach out to Dr. Foston. If you do speak tonight, we simply ask that you be responsible, be helpful, and be respectful. Our BPS students deserve to have adults model expectations that we have for them. Groups are urged to select one spokesperson. For individuals, will be limited to no more than 4 minutes and will be notified with 30 seconds remaining to conclude their remarks. The board will not debate issues as presented, but will take such matters under advisement. With that, please stand and approach the podium if you wish to speak tonight. Okay, see no one. With that, public comment is closed. Item 5, monitoring district operations. EO1, global operational expectations. Dr. Fosnot.
Good afternoon, board members. Before I share with you OE 1 and 2 this evening, I would also like to say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Eastgate, for 2 good years. It's been a pleasure to learn from you and learn about BPS from you, and I look forward to working with Mr. Hagan and the rest of you as it continues, but thank you very much. It's been a good time, a good relationship, so I appreciate that. So on to OE1 Global Operations Expectations. That report is provided to you. This one outlines simply that the superintendent should not cause, allow, or fail to take reasonable measures to prevent any practice, activity, decision, or organizational condition that is unlawful, unethical, unsafe, disrespectful, imprudent, or a violation of policy that endangers the district public image. I am proud to say we are recommending this is in compliance. I would firmly stand, not only for my team, but myself, in saying I do my very best to follow the law and policy every single day. Except when I probably speed down the interstate, I know I'm willfully breaking it. But as far as inside the job, I'm willfully following the law and policy all the time. I do hope that you see that I do my very best to work in an ethical manner every single day that I come to the job, ensuring a safe environment as much as possible for our students and our staff. I also want to say, to demonstrate the respectful aspect of this, we don't really talk about it in the evidence, but I think the dignity index, we just talked about learning about that at the school board's convention a couple years ago. I think that is paramount to a good evidence that we're trying to lead and respond to all those people that we encounter in BPS every day with dignity and how we treat them. But I also believe I'm prudent and resourceful when needed, and uphold a positive image for BPS. Hopefully when you see my team or myself in front of a camera out representing the district, you say, okay, that's the image that we expect BPS to be held like, and do that. So in regard to 1.1 and this report, we find it in compliance, and I provided the evidence for you. So I'd stand for any questions you have.
Board members. Ms. Peterson.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to point out, and I thought, obviously this particular report is talking about, following the law, but I really do want to highlight the indicator and the evidence under, oh gosh, now I got to find the actual indicator, indicator 3, that talked about just the fact that we have 79% of our respondents strongly agreed, or somewhat agreed with the direction of the district. And so in a year where we undertook, kind of the updating of the strategic plan, lots of different changes and some major things that we are doing, I think that is a strong indicator indeed. So I thought that was a really good indicator and piece of evidence that then also highlights that, I think we see that you and your team are following the policies, have strong policies that not only are that drive our processes within coherent governance, but we know that you guys have your operational handbooks and things like that I think are always kind of in continuous improvements, but also that you guys strive to pass every single day. So with that, I would move that with respect to OE1, global operational expectation taken as a whole, that we would find the district in compliance.
We have a motion.
Second.
Mr. Eastgate, we have a motion and a second. See no other comment. Dr. Scher?
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Presky,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. On to B, OE2, Emergency Superintendent Succession. Dr. Fosnett?
Yeah, for OE2, this is pretty straightforward. We should designate at least one of our executive staff members to be familiar with the board's governance process. And then really, this boils down to making sure that we have a process in place in case for some reason I depart or there's a vacancy in my position, and how we're going to address that, which that evidence is provided to you. That's kind of in policy how that decision-making matrix is used. So we provide that to you. And then each year I give to you in August kind of who is my direct successor. I appoint either one of the assistant superintendents as the first role in that. Even though I have two assistants, they do brilliantly. I will identify one to hold that role, which I do annually for you. And then you'll also have as a bit of evidence today our organizational chart, so you can see how I organize my team and their roles. So I believe that satisfies the expectations of this policy.
Board members? Mr. Lee?
Mr. President, with that, I would, in respect to OE2 Emergency Superintendent Succession, I would move that the board accept the report as fully compliant.
I would second.
Dr. Scher, we have a motion and a second.
Peterson,
Yes.
Presky,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. All right, item 6, matters reserved for board actions. The 25-26 board appointments. Dr. Fosnett, do you want to give a little background on that?
Yeah, you bet. Sorry. Yes, I will, President Hager. Sorry, I stumbled there for a second. Got to get used to that new vernacular. President Hager, members of the board, what we provided to you is just an outline of a simple motion. We provided a listing of all the positions inside of my team and throughout the district that hold designated roles, like you're in charge of federal funds or you are the CLSD coordinator and those. So we've listed those of where they are present. And then in bold, you have items 1 through, I think it now is 27 of what we're recommending for those positions. I think we did make one change today because that was my mistake for item 7, Board Member Peterson for year 2 of a 3-year appointment in Korea Board. I think your original document had me in there, and that was a mistake. We actually made that mistake last year as well, so we replicated the mistake but corrected it today. So that's the only correction we have since it was first sent to you. But there are some other appointments, but I believe it'd be best for you to address those maybe in your workshop and how the board wants to handle those appointments. These are a lot, aside from the Korea position, are a lot of the non-board member positions. So.
Thank you, Dr. Fosnett. Board members, Ms. Peterson.
I would move that we would appoint authorized representatives, designees, and authorizations as listed in recommendations 1 through 27 as listed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Dr. Scher?
Presky,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. Item B, administrative policy, personal electronic communication devices.
So board members, I kind of provided to you, and I will, we're having some technical issues with our website and getting some things posted to the agenda. So once we can get that rectified, I'll share these notes with the general public so they can see them and have access to them. So my apologies. But I'd just like to read a section of these so it's on the record so people can hear it, as this has been a large discussion in the district as far as the change in legislation and this policy. So if you are okay with it, I'll just read a few comments for the sake of the listening audience. So the BPS leadership team, building principals, and I are presenting for your review tonight a proposed revision to Administrative Policy FFI, which is personal electronic communication devices. This proposed policy replaced our current FFI, student responsible use. So that's been expanded over time. We're revising our present policy that really was confined just to our devices, not their personal electronic devices. While this is not customary for administrative policies to come before the school board, as they are typically maintained and revised by my team in accordance with the coherent governance policy, we are bringing this policy forward because of its significant importance and desire by you to have the school board provide their thoughts and affirmation of the proposed policy. So background and just some legislative context. The proposed revision is prompted by the passage of Senate Bill 2354, which was signed into law by the governor on May 2nd of 25. This bill, alongside the earlier House Bill 1160, initially aimed to limit student access to personal electronic devices during instructional time. Throughout the legislative process, both bills were hoghouse, meaning their context was significantly amended, ultimately resulting in a requirement that districts restrict student use of personal devices from bell to bell during the school day. This new policy is grounded in the model policy released by the North Dakota School Boards Association, which we did have to wait for until mid-June to get their model policy to work this up for you and the community. Following its release, BPS convened a working group consisting of elementary and secondary principals, representatives from the Student Support Services, which would be special ed, for those that aren't familiar, our instructional leadership team, LDI, so dealing with teaching and learning, and then representatives from HR. This group reviewed the school board's draft policy, discussed potential modifications, and crafted the version being presented to you tonight. After that, we did want to get input. After we had the initial revision, we did want to seek input from our patrons, our parents. So we did post their proposed policy that you have in front of you out to parents electronically. We sent that out. So to further inform our process, we shared this policy with families on July 1, including direct links to the legislation and an invitation to complete a short survey, along with a link to the proposed policy. The survey yielded 953 responses. Key findings included 83.4% of respondents agreed that the proposed policy aligned with the intent of the legislation. We specifically asked them, you look at our policy, review the legislation, make sure that we're meeting the intent of the policy or of the legislation. Parents were also asked to share what they supported in the policy and then what concerns they had. This open-ended response I did have analyzed using help from AI, so please don't give that all to me. I did use AI as an assistant tool to provide summary of those 900 plus responses. Key themes that came out of there were one, clarity for emergency contact protocols. Parents wanted reassurance that they can contact their child in urgent situations and that a transparent process was in place. I think that's a concern. I'd also say that concern was addressed during legislative testimony. It was testimony by North Dakota Emergency Management that honestly sometimes during emergency situations, cell phones are a hindrance to response by emergency services. When something like an active shooter or a large disaster could happen, those systems become inundated by the sheer number of cell phone messages and phone calls, and they testified that's could be inhibiting to their response in a timely fashion. I would also say we will put out some additional guidance to parents, as I'll mention here in just a second, to help reassure them, like, here's going to be our process, so we can address one of these themes that came from our feedback from the survey. Second theme that came back from the survey was establishing a clear process for accommodations. The legislation does provide opportunity for students to use a personal device if due to medical needs, an IEP or 504 plan requires them to have access to their device. We are presently working on those processes now and how that could be accommodated by families through the 504 IEP process. So we've heard that one and are presently working on that concern, again, voiced by our parents. Third theme was consider tiered flexibility at the secondary level. There were several responses in the survey, and you have part of this attachment, some of the direct comments from parents. Like they just wanted to have allowing more flexibility at the high school as compared to elementary level, flexibility during lunch hour and not. And I would all those parents that kind of shared that similar thought, I would encourage you to go to legislation and look at it. The legislation is a prohibition from using their personal cellular devices or communication devices bell to bell. So bell to bell, just for clarity, is your morning bell to your afternoon bell or whenever you arrive at school or leave school, because a high school kid could come and leave at different times. So while you're on property, bell to bell is morning to afternoon, not your classroom bell. Okay, so we're clear, and that's in the legislation directly. The fourth concern or key theme from the survey was standardized enforcement and communication. My team is presently working on that right now, particularly at the secondary level. As you're well aware, at the elementary level last year, kids could not have their cell phones with them. So that was not really a change. So this is not really a change for our elementary kids. Middle school last year, the requirement was you had to keep your cellular device or your communication device in your locker. So that really, we don't foresee a lot of conversion for kids. It'll be at the high school level. We are working with our secondary school leaders to create uniform, not only communication, but an FAQ document to help inform parents and kids of what those expectations are, but then uniform behavioral consequences. So if you violate the cell phone policy, what's the first offense? What's the second offense? What's the third offense look like? So we're very tight in the application of this policy across all three high schools. So we want to be consistent. So you say, well, we don't want you to say that X kid gets in extreme trouble in school A, but gets a lenient approach in school B. We're trying to be as consistent as possible. I will say, please remember, board members and public, that this is going to be implemented by hundreds of staff members. Okay, this is not just one person roaming the hallways enforcing cell phone policy. We're putting that on all of our professionals to do that. And I would say, because of some of the exemptions, because if I have a diabetic need, so I need to track my insulin and I need to do that, and so I need to have a phone with me, I do think there is opportunity for some confusion to say, I can have a phone, but Mr. Lee can't and access it. So we're going to try to navigate that the best we can. But we're going to work through that because that's what the legislation asks us to do. And there are legitimate reasons kids have this tool with them for reasons like that. So we'll continue to work on that. And then lastly, publishing a public-facing FAQ. There was just enough of questions from our parents about the implementation, the consequences, how it's going to be carried out in our schools, that we just thought we need to be forthright early. We're shooting for early August to have something out to parents and students so they know it's coming. It is already in all their students' handbooks already because we had to go to press. We had to go to publication really early with those, but we are saying, students, please reference the policy here. You can find it, and then we're updating the policy electronically so they can get the newest version. So we're trying to do our best to communicate that. So I guess if I can conclude, my personal reflections, as you know, several of our BPS leaders and I were active in conversations throughout this process. I want to extend my thanks to Representative Jim Jonas from West Fargo and Senator Michelle Axman, who is with us this evening, from Bismarck, and the governor's office for engaging us as leaders to have a dialogue about this policy and how we could implement it and seeking our feedback. I remain a firm believer that reducing distractions in the classroom is a good thing. We are too distracted by these. And I would say, not just our children, us too. We as humans are too distracted by these devices. So I do appreciate where the intent of the bill is. They're a pervasive distraction, not just impacting students, but us as well. And we must work to build those skills in our kids so they know how to navigate these devices as tools in their adult life. While I had hoped the legislation that would allow a more gradual and developmental approach, one that helps students build those responsible use skills over time, I do support the new law. At this moment, the risk of distraction and its consequences to a student's learning outweigh the benefits of unrestricted access. So our young people deserve an environment that allows them to be fully present and learn, and I hope you see that in the policy we presented to you. So I'd stand for any questions you have.
Board members. Mr. Eastgate.
Not so much questions tonight, Dr. Fosnot, but just some comments. Just to, first of all, I support and would also reiterate what you mentioned, that I very much support the spirit of the law. And I think it's important. You know, I was at a family dinner just this last week with a number of nieces and nephews and my own 3 secondary students asking a lot of questions about the policy. And I just think it's important to remember it is state law. And so now as school districts, it's our job as school board and as the central office to enact it. And I agree with you too. I think less distractions is better. Like I spend enough time in high schools and middle schools to see, you know, I want to get kids out of the earbuds and focusing on people around them and their teachers. I'd also like to give credit, though, to our educators that already have been doing a great job. I did a school visit at Legacy High School this year, and Mr. Tom Schmidt was really quick to give credit to Mr. Reel at Simley, who's their feeder middle school, and saying that our kids they respond to their teachers and getting their phones put away. They're respectful about when they use them. So Bismarck, really, we have good practices already going on. It's just going to be, I would say, we're doubling down on some of those, and that's where I do appreciate less distractions in the classroom and in the hallways for that matter too. I do think our educational places should be places where kids are learning and not just the 2 + 2 = 4, but how we handle each other socially and everything else as well. At the same time, I just hope our community also understands and gives grace to our educators, because we're asking our educators to do a lot with this, a lot more than, frankly, and I'm guilty of this as well, not always being as strong about it at home. And yet we're asking educators to do that. So that's a big lift for our teachers, it is. And so I just think those are some points that we need to make sure that as we enter into it, it's even though we've had some of these good practices going on, it is a new policy. It's a new law anyway. And just so that, you know, we all need to do our best, put our best foot forward to do the best with this bill as we can. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Eastgate. Well said. So, Dr. Fosnot, you're looking for an motion and approval on this?
Unlike most administrative policies, you don't have to, but I would be okay with that tonight. I think it would be good for the board to weigh in and provide additional support to, as you said, it's law, but it's a new policy, and we are all in support, hopefully. So.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Let's see if I can
Ms. Peterson.
craft one. I would move that we would approve the recommendation of FFI, Personal Electronic Communication Devices Policy.
Second.
Dr. Scher, we have a motion and a second.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Bresky,
yes,
Hager.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Fosnot. Item 7, the consent agenda. What are the wishes of the board? Mr. Lee.
Mr. President, just a comment real quick. It's always tough when you see these resignations, and there's always losing good people. There's a couple of them that I know personally, worked with a little bit. One of them, it's not surprising. Nate Simmons. Simmons is old. Should have been out of the game years ago. Only he and my brother will recognize that reference, but he was one of our BPS kids, Century grad, great young man. Wish him the best in the future. And then, of course, our very own Dr. Tabby Ravenberg, who certainly has left her mark as a principal at Horizon and most recently Prairie Rose, but she also held the CTE expansion portfolio, which was incredibly important work for the district and the board. She's an exceptional grant writer, bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars to BPS, benefiting our kids. So the void she will leave is not lost on me. I was looking through this. She came to us from Des Moines. to take the helm at Horizon, and she leaves us for Des Moines to take the helm at Horizon, an elementary school in Johnston, Iowa. So I believe. But best wishes to her and all the resignees.
Mr. Eastgate.
I should have been paying attention. Mr. Lee made a motion there or not, but I would move to approve the consent agenda.
And I would second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Dr. Scher.
Lee,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Bresky,
Yes.
Eastgate,
Yes.
Hager.
Yes. Item 8, Superintendent's Report, Major Projects. Dr. Fosnot.
I don't have too much tonight. I'd like to talk to you about sometime about title and federal funds, but I'm not prepared to do that tonight. But I think that's an ongoing conversation, and we'll be talking about that in the media here in the next couple of days. So I will defer to Dr. Scher in the Major Projects Report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Fosnot, President Hager, members of the board. Tonight, just a quick update on the Silver Ranch. Hopefully by the next time I report out on this, phase 1, we'll have students in that building. You can see a few pictures there. Remember, a majority of the north part of that building will be shelled out. The south side will be complete, so they are getting ready to tile and finish sheetrock. Our staff actually is putting in a partition wall in the industry training rooms. All the site concrete is done. A lot of the landscaping has been completed. Like, for example, the boulevards are done, but now we'll have the site. We've continued to meet with our donors. For example, we met with RDO again last week to really nail down kind of what they're looking for as part of their sponsorship. And for those of you out there that are excited about workforce development and the future of workers in our state, we still need more donors. So that was just a little plea for some money. So with that, I'd also have the financials for the building fund included for you, and I would answer any questions the board would have on the Silver Ranch Career Academy.
Board members, any comments, questions? Okay, thanks, Dr. Scher. Item 9. Guess we've exhausted all the agenda items have been considered. I declare this meeting adjourned.